be their legislators, their governors, their congressmen, their presidents, or whatever that office may be. The President of the United States went to a country we call China, 800 million people. They don't have any right to vote. He's going to another country, 245 million people, the Soviet Union. They vote, but they all vote the same way. This is one place in the world where you got a choice. And we Democrats give you a lot of them. I got everybody that ever wanted to run for office is running for office.
One thing about tomorrow, by then the number of candidates for public office will be substantially reduced. By this time tomorrow, the polls will be closed and the expected bloodletting and precinct conventions may be over. Both parties are expecting battles, Democrats over whether delegate votes will go to Humphrey or Wallace, and Republicans over the unique and somewhat bitter battle in the heavily Republican 3rd Congressional District. That primary pits incumbent Congressman Jim Collins against one-time County Chairman Tom Crouch. And indications are that returns will probably be late coming in from the 3rd District, and it might be a long night for both reporters and candidates. Remember, too, that both parties will be voting on the school busing amendment. You'll recall that's the one where you vote yes to say no busing, and vice versa. The Republicans will give their opinion of daylight savings time, and of course, as the evening progresses, trends, one way or another, will provoke victory statements from all quarters. Don't relax even after the real victory statements. After tomorrow's primary, the summer ahead will bring a runoff on June the 3rd, state conventions on June the 13th, a special session of the state legislature sandwiched somewhere in there in June or July, national conventions, of course, another set of state conventions in September, and finally the general election in November. It's summers like this that lead political reporters to talk about election winners as the surviving candidates. This is Phil Reynolds, Channel 8 News on the Move. Things may look normal here at Channel 8 News, but the excitement is that in more than a month of planning is about to culminate in the most comprehensive election reporting in the Southwest. Channel 8's coverage really began weeks ago when sets for the studio, all of them built here in the building, started going together. This week, dozens of special telephone lines have been coming into the building for instant communications between reporters in the field and the special 10-man team in the studios. This team will constantly tabulate and report election results and highlights of the election, and at the same time, correspondents will be ready to report with live TV cameras in party headquarters, tabulating centers, and other activity spots in both Dallas and Fort Worth. Use of the special live cameras is a first for election coverage of this nature, and the small portable cameras, hundreds of pounds lighter than studio cameras, can take you, the viewer, directly to where the action is. Centered around the flexibility of these cameras, Channel 8's election coverage will revolve not just around numbers of votes, but will bring you all the color, the excitement, and the anxiety of the 1972 primary election. This is Phil Reynolds, Channel 8 News, asking you to be with us at 8 o'clock Saturday for a new experience when Channel 8 News presents Election 72.
We've had a real tough spring, Jerry. We've had a lot of youngsters injured. We've had some great battles going on all spring. It's been extremely competitive at a lot of different positions. We have, for the first time, a lot of young giants out there battling some of the veterans. And you know, we've had quite a few small players in recent years in our offensive and defensive line, and this is the largest physical group that we have had, and it's very encouraging. So I would say that the fans are in for a real treat Saturday night. I don't know how much scoring we'll do, but I think the offense and defensive people will really have a great battle, and I think we're going to have an excellent football team.
Have you had some pleasant surprises this spring?
Yes, we have, and most of the real pleasant surprises have come from young people. We will, at this time, be starting about 4 sophomores on defense, and several on offense have looked good, and we've got a great 4-way battle for quarterback right now.
Well, Jerry, this is what we think will be a tremendous attraction. We're bringing in on a week from Friday, May 12th, 4 black university bands, including Grambling, who will compete for $25,000 in scholarship monies donated by Braniff International. Well, for those who have seen just Grambling alone at Cowboy halftimes, realize what a great band it is and how entertaining they are, and imagine 4 such units competing for $25,000. We think it's going to be a tremendous event, and of course we have a little surprise at halftime as well.
Are you going to let that be a surprise for the night, or are you going to give us a hint of what it might be?
Well, I think we'll tell you right now, as a complete twist, and you know, normally a band plays at halftime of a football game. Cowboy football players, because they feel this is such a worthwhile project, are going to play a football game at halftime of a band competition. So we'll have Craig Morton quarterbacking one team and Roger Staubach the other, and they'll play a 20-minute flag football game, and we'll play it with fierce intensity, I'm sure.
They have beautiful homes there, and there isn't any reason why that they shouldn't be able to live there and enjoy their homes. And I think the entire city of Dallas or in the county or anybody would be in sympathy of the homeowners. And for this reason, I'm going to offer to rescind the motion that the council has made previously.
And recommend building of a channel?
And recommend the channel, yes, sir.
They gave us notice, that was Wednesday night, we received the letter that to vacate. They give us 1 week notice, and here we are on 3 days, and they don't even give us a chance. We submit the name of a place last night to the DACC, I can never...
DCCAC?
DCCAC. Yes. And they refused to do anything about it, and so they were going to send a truck, which he was, his truck this morning, out here trying to get all this stuff out.
about 2 weeks ago. We did have a buyer. When the contract was signed, the stipulation was that it would have to be empty. And presumably this would be within a 10 or 15 week to 10-day period. So we advised OEO last Friday, as a matter of fact, by registered mail. I don't know whether they received it then or not, that they would have to vacate and apologize because of the short notice.
One thing to look forward to. After tomorrow, the number of political candidates will be substantially reduced. By this time tomorrow, polls will be just minutes away from closing, but that's not the worst of it for a lot of people who are going to be interested in politics. For example, both parties are expecting some bloodletting at their precinct conventions, which start immediately after poll closing tomorrow. Democrats will be fighting over whether delegates will be pledged to George Wallace or Hubert Humphrey. Republicans will quarrel in the heavily Republican 3rd Congressional District over the unique and somewhat bitter race for a nomination between incumbent Congressman Jim Collins and one-time County Republican Chairman Tom Crouch. That would seem to indicate that returns from those precincts in the 3rd District may be slow coming in, and it may be a late election night. Remember, too, that both parties will vote on a school busing referendum. That, you may recall, is the one where you vote yes if you're opposed to busing. And Republicans will also be asked their opinions on daylight savings time. Of course, you can look forward to victory statements from all quarters as the trend seems to throw the vote one way and then another. Don't relax yet, though, even after the real victory statements are issued. After tomorrow's primary, the summer ahead will bring a runoff primary in June, state conventions June the 13th, a special session of the state legislature sometime in June, sandwiched among all this, national conventions, of course, another set of state conventions in September, and finally, the general election in November. It's summers like this that lead political reporters to talk about election winners as the surviving candidates. Phil Reynolds, Channel 8 News, on the move.
No, I don't think there'll be any trouble in the Negro communities, and the reason for that is primarily that the communists got all the knowledge they needed out of those riots. They put in the economic program of the Communist Party, and the economic program of the Communist Party, of course, was the so-called war on poverty, by definition. They got a tremendous amount of legislation passed. They got the whole Great Society business put in, which was just the program of the Communist Party. There's no need for riots this summer, and they won't make them.
We have the law, but now we've got to fight for changes in attitude. Attitude towards both females as well as the blacks, the Chicanos, the American Indians in this country.
You mentioned females, very interesting point. Are you, can I interpret that as you being in sympathy with the basic concepts of the women's lib movement?
I would answer that by saying that the women's lib movement is probably achieving something that needs to be achieved. They are bringing the plight of women in the economic, in the labor markets rather, in this country to the attention of people.
What we are trying to do here at the Skyline Career Development Center is to break away from the traditional mode of education, to give the student something that is of a practical nature that will fit the needs of industry today. In this particular program, the Architectural Design Technology program, we feel that what is being done here is extremely significant to the architectural profession because the students who are being trained here are doing almost professional quality work. It is no longer a mechanical drawing course as we have been accustomed to for the last 10 or 15 or 20 years in our traditional high school.